Hi, everybody. Thanks for waiting. We had a little bit of Google technicality issues here, like always. This is never something different with this. But we have a great show today. We have Karen Lee is with me for Green Sisterhood, and Andrea Donsky's here from Naturally Savvy, and we're going to be talking about something really important. We're going to be talking about sanitary napkins. Yay! Yeah. You know, this is, I don't want to tell you, but this prop is kind of like 10 years old, but
It looks
here's
like a
how,
hospital size, Anna.
yeah, well, yeah.
Did you get there when you had your last child?
Yeah, for my last child. That's how old this is, and I kept it too. So,
Oh my God.
so we're going to get right into the questions. Andrea has a great petition out, and I'm going to give the floor to Andrea to talk about what it is that is concerning her about sanitary napkins and tampons. Andrea, I'm going to give you the floor.
Thank you, ladies. Pleasure to be here. Finally, nice to meet face to face. So much to say. So we basically did some research. So we wrote a book, and in the book that we wrote, it's an ebook. And in the ebook we found out a lot of interesting information. But in particular, we found out that feminine hygiene pads and tampons don't have to fully disclose. The companies don't have to fully disclose the ingredients, excuse me, on their packaging because they're considered to be medical devices. So there is a label loophole that exists that pretty much doesn't have to tell us what's in the products that we're putting on and into our bodies every single month. So what we decided to do was we decided to take that a step further and say, okay, well, Procter & Gamble or other companies, if you're not going to tell us what's in the product, we're going to try and find out for ourselves.
So tell us about what you found out in the product.
Well, in terms of the actual, we don't know for sure anything at this point. We are actually doing some work right now to see what we can for sure disclose. But based on our observations by setting it on fire. So we asked around, and some people, what they told us is, short of going to an actual lab and having it done and spending money to dissect what's in the pads and the tampons, we were told that we should set it on fire and then to observe what was in, how does the smoke look, how quickly does it go up in flames, what does it smell like. So to observe different things, different characteristics that we might be able to take away from setting it on fire.
So actually, that you just mentioned that, we have Andrea's YouTube. So give me a second. I'm going to screen share with everybody the short fire. So hold on one second. This may be technical difficulty, so keep your fingers crossed. Really. Okay. Hold on. Can you all see it?
Not yet.
Can't see it.
Well, while she's searching for this, Andrea, quick question for you. What made you put it on fire? Why putting any chemical or any product on fire is an indication of, like, what? What does it tell you when you put something on fire?
Well, we don't know for sure, obviously, but what we did was we wanted to compare the two and see what the difference between the 100% organic tampon and the one that we didn't know what the ingredients were.
Like, why didn't you put it in, let's say, water, or like, isn't there like other types of tests that you can do that can differentiate between the two?
For us, we were told that fire would be the best way. Oh, so that's why we did that. I did do a tampon experiment. We just wrote an article this week, posted, or it was the end of last week, posted a tampon experiment that I did take 2 different types of tampons, a conventional brand and an organic brand, and put it into water, and I left it in overnight, and I observed that by doing it in water. So that was an easier one to do because obviously tampons go into our bodies, which are, contain liquid from the blood, and it can, show us what happens just by, simulating it through water. So that was an easier one to do, and I did observe it. And what I found from that was quite interesting as well. But go ahead.
No, so this, so was it an organization or a scientist who told you to, put these 2 things on fire, or?
It was just someone who we were talking to who said that has experience with I guess with fire, who said that might be a good way to go.
Because one of the things, like, I like to sew, so I know a little bit about fabric, and one of the things that my mother told me is to burn the edges of the fabric to see what the fabric is made of if you don't know what it is. So it was interesting that you burned the 2 things, and one exhibited one types of characteristic over another. And that's also some kind of, you know, lab test that we do in chemistry, in chemistry class. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a chemist, and I did speak to the fire department, and I asked them, could we 100% conclude if there was something in it? And obviously, it all came back to, unless we put it under a microscope or use some type of technology in a lab, then we would know for sure what's in it. But the second best thing would be is to set it on fire and just observe it. And again, nothing's conclusive, but I mean, it was really interesting to see the difference of how the cotton tampon hardly burned. I mean, it had white smoke. Nothing happened really. Whereas the other one lit up and burst into flames within seconds, and it left this crazy residue on the plate. So, I used white plates for both of them. And at the end of the experiment, and you could see from when you guys, and hopefully you can get the video up. If not, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch it there.
You know what? I'm gonna try to.
I got it. Is it up? Is it up?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, ready? I'm going to start it.
Okay.
Go ahead. Okay, there we go.
So
I guess you can't hear the...
Yeah, that's okay. So you could see from the video that the one on the left...
Andrea, let the video go by itself first before you start talking.
No problem.
Sorry about that, folks. It's one of those technical difficulty things when you're dealing with. I'm going to put the link of the video itself on our website so that people can see. It's in the comments. So Andrea, when you saw that, I mean, first of all, I'm assuming that you kind of suspected something, right? Some difference. So were you surprised by the effect of the fire?
You know what? To be honest, Karen, like I really went in there with no expectations at all. Like it wasn't like I was gonna, I was like, oh yeah, for sure this one is. I really did not know what to expect because I had never conducted an experiment like this before. So I was super surprised. Yeah. I could not, I mean, you could hear it in my expression. I mean, holy cow, that's crazy. I mean, it was all real, like my emotions were real. Like I could not believe how quickly it went up. I also couldn't believe the residue that it left on the plate. I mean, that was like the black smoke, how it totally stained the bowl, how the residue, and I took some great close-up pictures of the residue for my website, how it was caked on to the plate, where none of that happened for the Nature Care pad. So that alone indicates something that isn't 100% natural. So again, do I know exactly what is in there? No, but can I suspect that there's petrochemicals and plastics and other things? I could suspect, but it was definitely a major difference.
One of the things that you talked about on your site, you were talking about dioxins, you talked about hormone disruptors, all those things. Tell us a little bit about, because this is not something new. I mean, this is, like you had even mentioned on your site back in 2003, that legislation was trying to be passed about what's in the product. So tell us a little bit about sanitary pads and tampons, what you know about their toxicity.
Yeah, so people have been talking for a while about, if you, although interesting enough, Anna, there is not a ton of information online about it. We really had to dig deep. Sure, there are websites that talk about it, especially in the natural industry. We've known, I mean, I myself have been using Nature Care or organic tampons for, over 10 years, for a really long time. So we've known about it for a long time. But there isn't an abundance of information, unfortunately, on it right now. People aren't talking about it the way we should be talking about it. We should be angry as women. We should have the right to know what's going in our bodies. However, having said what you're saying is, the issue with dioxins is that they're using chlorine dioxide to bleach the actual, the tampons and the pads. Now, the EPA changed, they used to use elemental chlorine, and the EPA changed that in 1998. So now they have to use chlorine dioxide, which drastically reduces the dioxins that are given off into the environment, but it doesn't eliminate them completely. So whether or not those dioxins remain in the end product, we don't know. But we do know that from that bleaching process itself, there are dioxins that are continued to be released into the environment, and we know that dioxins are harmful to human health and to the environment.
And one of the the other thing is that, it strikes me that, like, when I saw that this has been around, especially with that legislation, what's your tipping point? What made you just say, this is it? I'm getting a petition up. I'm just so sick of this.
Well, it really had to do with writing our book. I mean, the one thing that I, in particular, am very passionate about is label reading. So that's really my expertise. That's what I've written, now 2 books on. Our first one was on Junk Your Junk Food, which discloses the ingredients in junk food and packaged foods. So when we were writing label lessons, I mean, we extended it beyond just food, but I couldn't find the ingredients to put into the book for the tampons and pads. And that's when we said, well, wait a second. If I can't get the ingredients and I'm not entitled to them, and I'm not, we called P&G, we called them more than 5 times. And, even their own customer service representatives don't know. It's not like they're hiding it from us. They don't even know. So the fact that I couldn't obtain information on the ingredients that is really my specialty, that's what infuriated me. That I wasn't even entitled to know what was in those products so I can write about them in the book. So, we did the best we could. We extrapolated what we could from the information that we received. And then we kind of said, you know what? This has to stop. In this day and age, how are we held in the dark about what goes into and onto our bodies? It just doesn't make sense.
You know what struck me is I asked her, but I think that an average woman has like 400 periods in her lifetime, like 15,000 sanitary napkins and tampons. I mean, that's a lot. And then not even just what it is from a health perspective, from an environmental perspective, a plastic. You mentioned that too in your article. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, 1 sanitary pad equals to 4 plastic bags. I mean, that's a lot of plastic that we're using. And 90% of sanitary pads contain plastic. So there's a huge environmental, there's a huge environmental impact. Now, the great thing about, at least, and I can speak to Nature Care only because I researched it. So I'm sure there's many amazing natural brands out there that don't use plastic in their products, but I can only speak to what I did my own research on and what I have knowledge about. And I know that Nature Care in particular, they don't use any plastic. So I think the key is really to look for natural sanitary pads and tampons that use organic ingredients, because we know that cotton is one of the most sprayed crops in the United States. And we also know that they contain GMOs. So 94% of all the cotton grown in the States is GMO. So, you want to use a company that uses organic cotton and also that doesn't use any plastic in their ingredients.
Actually, you started talking about the question that I was going to ask is like, all these commercial, feminine pads or tampons are toxic and they have plastics and it's dangerous. But like, what are your options and what are your solutions? And you just started to talk about Nature Care. And I can only assume some of the skeptics are saying, well, she must be getting paid by Nature Care to talk about Nature Care all the time and in the, in your post and again, you're talking about it. What are other options that people can use that you know of that are safer than, let's say, Procter & Gamble, Always, Infinity, or whatever the products that you tested?
Yeah, so like I said before, I know Nature Care the best because I work with them and they're a company I've used, and I've met Susie, the owner, for many, many years. So it's no secret I know their product best because of that and my experience with it. But there are like 7th generation, and in the article I wrote, there are definitely, we recommend other brands. A lot of people have been talking about the Diva Cup. I haven't done my own experiment, and I haven't used it myself, so I can't really speak to it, but I hear it's a fabulous alternative. I hear
what is
that
Diva Cup, for those people who don't know what that is?
A Diva Cup, from what basically from what I understand and from the comments that people have been making and bringing to my attention, which I love all the comments, is that it's a cup that you can insert that collects the blood, so you don't have to use a tampon or a pad.
Oh, so you don't create waste at all.
Correct. You don't create waste. Exactly. So, but like I said, I haven't used it myself, but I hear it's fantastic. So, definitely something that's worth exploring. Some people have recommended, which is great, because if I go to the Petition and I look on our website, there's so many great comments. People are recommending brands or products that they use. Some people say they just use regular cloth. So there's definitely some great options in the article and, in the comments below the article that you can read that can provide other options.
In olden days, before disposables came along, just like cloth diapers we use for babies, we use reusable, cotton, pads that, like, our mothers and grandmothers used to make, to use at home. So you never throw away anything, and what they're made of.
That's right.
So, I've seen a lot of those now, reusable pads with either Velcro or snaps that go underneath, and I've seen those. And some people think that's, hilarious, but that's like the original, right?
That's the way we used them. I think Luna pads was another one that some people recommended as well. And then Luna pads, and then 7th generation does make disposables, but apparently theirs was good too.
You also mentioned Glad rags too, I think.
Glad rags also, and again, I haven't used. These are great options from what people are recommending, but yeah, absolutely, I would say explore anything that you think is going to work better than using these conventional pads. Anything that doesn't, that don't have the chemicals, that don't have the plastic, that don't have that environmental impact are fabulous.
It's funny that you talk, when Karen and I were having this discussion before we actually had you on the show, is we just had Frances LePay on, and she is such an advocate of possibilities. So this is what I love about, you're opening up the discussion. Okay, yeah, what we're using may not be the best stuff for us, but there are other people and other companies out there that are producing great stuff. So we're opening up the possibilities of, okay, go over there and vote with your dollar and vote with your health. So that's what I like, that you really not only just said, don't use it, but here's other options.
Absolutely, and that's really what Naturally Savvy is all about. I mean, we're always about finding the healthier alternative to whatever the conventional, we feel, product may not be as good as the natural alternative. So, and that's really what my passion is. I mean, my passion is finding that better alternative. And I mean, I live the lifestyle. I use the products. It's like, I go into a store and I'll spend 3 hours reading the ingredients to see what that better option is. So yes, I agree with you. That's what we're empowering ourselves with, is the choice, right? It all comes down to making those better choices so we don't have to use products that aren't so good for us.
So my second question is, what do you hope to gain from this petition? Do you really think that you're going to change Procter & Gamble's policy if they're allowed to hide the ingredients, because these are, quote, medical devices, which baffles my mind. But anyway, that's another discussion in itself. So they can get away with it, and they're saying, hey, we're allowed to hide these ingredients. So like, what's it to you? Like, what do you hope to get out of it?
Well, I think, like anything, it's creating awareness. So creating awareness for the fact that we don't have the right to know what's in the products that we're using. I think that's that's a really important factor here, and that the more people that sign the petition, the bigger voices we have collectively to go out there and then bring it to Procter & Gamble's attention to say, look, if you have nothing to hide, just at least disclose what's in it. You're not saying that you have to change your policy, remove anything that we're thinking might be there as harmful, but at least give us the option that if we call you or on your, voluntarily disclose these ingredients on your packaging, well, you know what? That's a step in the right direction. And that's what I think we're looking for here. I'm not about to change the world, but what I am about is to have my fundamental right to know what I'm using, on and in my body every month. I think that's the important thing. The petition has almost 1,000 signatures in only a few days. So people are, it's an important topic.
And share with us some of the comments that you've had on your website or on your Facebook, good and bad and ugly.
I have to say, they've mostly, I think we've had maybe one comment of, that wasn't so great, but all of the other ones have been amazing. People are shocked. They didn't know about this. And what most people are saying is they switched. A lot of people have said, oh my God, I had no idea. I never even thought of this before. And I think that's the main comment that we're getting is, oh my God, I think about, what I eat, or I think about what I put on my body, and, but I never thought of anything to do with conventional pads and tampons. Like, it was nothing that, it wasn't at the forefront of people's minds. So I think that would be the biggest takeaway, is that people are like, they know now, they're becoming more educated. Again, when we know better, we do better. So it's about being more educated, and once we're thinking about it next time we're at the store, it's like, okay, well, you know what, maybe I'll use a natural brand. So that, I'd say, is the most, common comment that has been coming up. And more, also, people are upset because we have the right to know. So a lot of people have been vocal about, I have daughters, I have granddaughters, I have wives, I have girlfriends, I have, even if you're not a woman, but you have women in your lives, this is an important issue for everybody, not just if you're a woman. So I'd say that those would be the major comments that we're getting. All amazing.
Andrea, are you finding, do you have a timeline that you'll be able to tell us what you guys discover, what's in those products? Or is that you're just going to go with the petition? Where are you on that part?
Well, we're going to go with the petition for now. I mean, we literally just posted this on Thursday, so it's only been a few days, 4 days since we got it up there. So we're going to go with our petition. Like I said, we have almost 1,000 signatures in that short period of time. We're hoping that, more and more people put it on their Facebook page, they share it on their websites, they make people aware and join us in getting that information out there. Companies like Natural News have already posted it on their website. Dr. Mercola said that they would do it as well. So, this is information that I think is really important. And the more people catch on and the more they talk about it and more we get it out there, then we'll see where we go with that petition and see how many signatures we can collect and then bring it directly to P&G.
I'm going to try and put it on the screen. Good luck. So hold on one second. Karen, go ahead. Ask your question while I try to screen.
Somebody just emailed me a question because the person doesn't want to show it on Facebook or Twitter. She's saying, it's all great and fine and dandy, and it's like eating conventional versus organic. Most of us cannot afford, organic cotton sanitary pads when they can't even have organic milk. So in terms of cost, do you know the cost difference between some of these products that you came across versus, let's say, Always, or any like Kotex or any other brands?
Yeah, I mean, the exact cost I don't know because they vary by where you are and where you're shopping, right? But what I do know, there's a couple answers to that question. And and Karen, I get that all the time. Regardless if it's a sanitary pad or it's a vegetable they wanted, it's a common question that people like to say, I can't afford it, or, the truth is this. This is what I always tell people. This is, if we're a woman, we're a mother, we're, mothers, we're women, we're wives, whatever we are, we're friends, we're parents, whatever we are, we're daughters. The point is that we cannot not afford to be able to take responsibility for our health. So that would be my first thing. It's not astronomically more than conventional pads. I went to the pharmacy the other day. I couldn't believe the cost of conventional pads. They're a fortune. So, the natural organic brands are not that much more expensive than the conventional brands. They're probably on par in a lot of places. You can get coupons. So, for example, in Label Lessons at the end of the book, you can actually download a coupon for Nature Care. So there are a lot of stores like Whole Foods that are offering coupons that you can get to make it more affordable. So in my opinion, you can't afford not to take responsibility for your health, because in the long run, it's going to cost you a lot more than the 50 cents or the $1 more it's going to cost you for your monthly cycle. So,
Well, interesting you say that, we are responsible for our own health because, not to overshadow what you're trying to do, but I just read from New York Times. Did you hear about the story that Angelina Jolie had a double mastectomy and to prevent, because she carries the gene. Yeah, she carries the genes, and her mother died of breast cancer. So to be proactive and to take control of her health and to be, to make that empowering decision to say, hey, I'm in control of my health, that I'm going to go through with this procedure. And she was basically pleading to make, any kind of proactive procedures affordable to those women who can't, possibly afford. So this kind of goes in line with, what you're saying, is because you're spending present dollar for future gains and future health, and you can't afford to gamble with that, so to speak.
Well, that's it, and that's kind of, it's, again, like I said, I hear it a lot about, buying the, vegetables and fruit from the Dirty Dozen versus not. We've had major conversation. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. Like, we've been in this industry over 15 years. So we've heard that, we've heard the questions and the comments and the, people who say, they can or they can't do it. But, that's just, you
have to make choices, basically.
It's choices. And also, there are coupons available. So there are ways to get them cheaper. Like, there are, right? So that's why, we just have to search them out a little bit, maybe a little bit more. But,
So maybe, like you mentioned, Diva cups, something like that you never have to throw away. And right? So maybe that's an answer.
It's a one-time purchase and I think it gives you quite a few cycles before you actually have to purchase another one. Exactly. You know, I have to do more research into Diva Cup because I hear such great things about it, and I just, I hear great, you know, I hear from the environmental and from the health standpoint. Like I said, I just don't know enough about it, but you know, I do have to do more research into it and try it myself. I haven't tried it, so.
You could be the expert on feminine products.
Right, the feminine products.
Exactly.
I could not put the petition up. Thank you, Google. It's just a black screen, as you saw. But you know, to speaking to what you said, Karen, is going back to your do-it-yourself tradition is making them your own, like you said, like your grandmother did, and everything like that. And maybe on Green Sister we'll put a tutorial up or some links to other people. I know she's laughing. She's the tutorial queen. Of
how you make your own reusable feminine. Yeah, I think there are a lot of patterns out there that you can copy.
Yeah. So you know, it just again speaks to a movement, and that's where you get the cost savings. You know, is making yourself, and you know,
we just had a great post on Green Sisterhood about going, you know, having greener changes, greener life, and saving money.
Right.
And I don't think feminine product it was mentioned in there, but that certainly it does cost a lot of money.
You know, Karen, or you know, Anna and Karen, if you guys can send me you know, an article about doing it yourself and saving money, I will post it on our website, and I will tweet it, and I will get it out there on Facebook, and I will, you know, give people a DIY. Yeah, send it to me, please. I would love that. I mean, that would be great, because that definitely is not up my alley. It's up your guys' alley, and you know, come together and so I can help get that information out there. I'd love that.
Sure.
So I guess, Karen, you're going to crank out that old sewing machine, right?
Yeah. Well, it's out because I was doing some sewing over the weekend. So what's another sanitary pad?
Right. Exactly. Hey, it's a tutorial.
There you go. Another reason to sew.
Another reason to sew, exactly. So I think it's great. Just make sure that it has like really pretty colors and, you know, material.
Of course. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
What's your favorite color? I'll make you one, Andrea. What's your favorite color? Hot pink.
Pink? Yeah. How can you tell?
There you go.
Yeah,
you got it.
Hot pink. Karen, is there any other questions? Do you see on the website?
I think that's it for now.
Does anybody have any questions?
We can have her back. You know, if we have more questions or you know, something we can.
Right. If anybody has questions even after they watch this, post it in the comments below, and then Andrea will be checking back to answer those questions. And you know, we know a lot of people are busy during the day and they may not get to see this, but this is really, really exciting to hear about and what you're doing. And you're right, it's knowledge. Knowledge is power. So Andrea, thank you so much for coming on, and we will put in the show links, the petition URL, as well as your article, so they can go watch it in the YouTube that never showed up on our webinar. That boggles my mind, YouTube and Google. So everybody, thank you so much. Keep checking over at Green Sisterhood. We have a webinar every single Tuesday at 2 o'clock, Google permitting. Instead of weather permitting, now it's Google permitting. And look forward to seeing you guys all on the blog. And thank you again, Andrea, for coming.
Oh, thanks a lot, Andrea.
And good luck with the petition. I know I've been sharing and promoting. So I'm
you're awesome. Thank you so much. You've been terrific supporters. So thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.